Hello, I'm Paula Stannard, Director of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Office for Civil Rights.
And hello, I'm Dr. Monty Burks, Director of the HHS Faith Center, and today is the National Day of Prayer. In observance of this day, Director Stannard and I are reflecting on the work of our offices.
And we're sharing our optimism for the Center for Faith and the Office for Civil Rights, collaborating to improve the health and well-being of all Americans through the work of communities of faith. Monty, you're new to the federal government and new to HHS. Tell me about the Center for Faith and why you find the work of the center impactful.
The historic HHS Faith Center was established by President Donald J. Trump and is part of the White House Faith Office housed in the West Wing. The Faith Center assists faith-based entities, community organizations, and houses of worship in their efforts to strengthen families, enhance the health and well-being of all Americans. Some of the recent initiatives that we've worked on include strengthening marriage and family, promoting foster care and adoption programs in partnership with faith-based entities, preventing and reducing crime, and facilitating prisoner reentry, promoting recovery from substance use disorder, and defending religious liberty. Houses of worship serve as trusted messengers and first responders in times of crisis. As we remember during Hurricane Helene, houses of worship acted with compassion and speed before federal teams arrived. Paula, you have worked across state and federal government. What has been the most striking observation about the role of the Office for Civil Rights in HHS?
What's been most striking to me is the sheer breadth of our work. Anyone who interacts with the health or social services system is likely to be affected by the policy and enforcement decisions of the Office for Civil Rights. We're responsible for enforcing over 50 laws and regulations covering civil rights, health information privacy and security, and the exercise of conscience and religious freedom. Even with my past HHS experience, there were some conscience statutes that surprised me when I returned as Director of the Office for Civil Rights.
It is unusual, is it, for a federal government office to protect conscience and religious freedom. What should faith communities know about this work?
So there are several things that communities of faith should know about our work in the Office for Civil Rights. First of all, conscience rights are civil rights. Second, our authority to address religious discrimination, conscience rights, was established long before the Trump administration. OCR has had the authority to accept complaints of religious discrimination in certain block grants since the 1980s. And then during President George W. Bush's administration, HHS issued the first regulations on health care conscience statutes. And then over the years, a number of additional statutes have been given to OCR to enforce. So our responsibility in the area of conscience and religious freedom has really grown over the years. It's also a very important priority for me to vigorously enforce conscience and religious freedom laws. And as an enforcement office, communities of faith should know that individuals and organizations can file a complaint with the Office for Civil Rights if they think that their conscience rights have been affected. They can file on their own behalf or on behalf of someone else. Complaints often shape our enforcement work because rights only matter if people know their rights and can assert them in practice. So one of the things we're focused on is educating the public on HHS conscience laws, such as those laws that we summarized in a guidance that we issued in January. We recognize also that many may be hesitant to come forward because they're concerned about potential repercussions, either personally or professionally. So finally, I want faith communities and faith-filled Americans to know that we can take certain steps to keep their names confidential if they file a complaint with us. Monty, I've long thought that faith-based organizations are essential partners for many HHS programs. As you may know, since 2021, the Office for Civil Rights has had authority to enforce specific religious freedom statutes that allow religious organizations to compete for HHS grant funding on an equal footing with secular organizations. Well, OCR acts as a shield for their religious identity and rights. How is the Faith Center serving as the bridge for these trusted messengers to access resources and serve their communities?
Thank you, Paula. That shield of legal certainty is everything. Faith leaders across the country need to hear that their sincerely held religious beliefs are an asset to our mission, not a disqualification from it. When that shield is in place, it allows the Faith Center to act as a bridge for real, practical partnership. We see the proof of concept in our fatherhood and marriage initiatives. This year, $85 million of the $106 million in grant funding went to projects involving faith-based groups.
That's great.
Thank you so much. The intentionality of message is what we have to be stewards of with our faith communities, to create opportunity for them to just hear that their work is important. Because of the work your office does to ensure a level playing field, we're able to funnel massive federal resources directly into the local ministries that are best equipped to restore families and strengthen communities. Faith communities should know that their roles at the local level make them valued partners for the delivery of health and social services. Faith communities bring something government cannot manufacture: long-standing trust and relational presence. And Paula, faith-based organizations should know that they can file a complaint with your office if they believe that they have been discriminated against based on their religious character when they apply for HHS funds.
Absolutely. For faith-based organizations to step into the front lines of health and social service delivery, they need to know that they can maintain their religious character and identities. So religious organizations and individuals can file a complaint with us if they think that they have been discriminated against because of the nature of their religious beliefs. This can be done through email, by using paper forms that are available on our website, or on our online complaint portal. What happens next is that we review the complaints. If needed, our staff will follow up with questions to the person who has filed the complaint to ask questions that help us understand if we have jurisdiction to further review or investigate the issue, and also to understand better the facts. So we have enforcement discretion to pursue the most impactful matters to promote widespread compliance with conscience laws. If we do pursue a matter, we provide written notice to the entity of the investigation, and we request relevant information and documents.
What should individuals or organizations filing a complaint expect in terms of resolution of their matter from your office?
Sure. So our goal is voluntary compliance. That brings the greatest bang for our buck, if you will. We want to resolve matters with an investigated entity voluntarily, if at all possible. We provide technical assistance if we find that there's a violation, or if we think that there may be some questions about their conduct. And so we'll work with an investigated entity to bring them into compliance voluntarily, if at all possible. If we can't resolve a matter voluntarily, we will pursue other enforcement measures and compliance measures as consistent with the law and the Constitution. So we may work with our partners in the department that fund these entities, or refer a matter to Department of Justice for further enforcement actions if it becomes necessary. As part of the work of the Task Force to Eradicate Anti-Christian Bias, OCR heard from many stakeholders about the treatment of faith-filled healthcare professionals and trainees. I know you attended sessions of the Religious Liberty Commission and spoke with many people who participated in those meetings. What stands out for you?
By bringing these stories to light, the Religious Liberty Commission is proving that the faith community's unique capabilities are a national treasure that must be protected by the shield and empowered by the bridge. There have been 6 hearings that the RLC has held, and testimonies were provided by medical professionals, parents, and students, survivors of human trafficking, and social service providers. I heard directly about the complaints on threats to religious liberties in medicine from a variety of ethical and practical perspectives. Paula, during our commission hearings, we heard some gut-wrenching testimony from healthcare workers facing an impossible dilemma, performing duties that violate their deepest moral convictions or lose their careers. Since your office handles the enforcement of these protections, what message do you have for those workers who feel their conscious rights are currently under threat?
My message to them is that we treat conscience rights as civil rights. If they will come forward, we will investigate their complaints. We will listen to them and either launch a complaint investigation or initiate compliance reviews of the entities that may have violated their rights. Generally, healthcare conscience laws prohibit government or government funded discrimination against individuals and institutions that decline to participate in certain healthcare services based generally on their religious beliefs, their moral convictions, or both. So people need to understand that if you aren't a member of an organized religion, but you have certain moral convictions, you're also protected by the law. So both faith-filled individuals as well as those who have moral convictions are protected by the statutes. The statutes that we enforce include protections in certain contexts and programs for physicians, nurses, and other healthcare professionals. Some healthcare laws specifically protect healthcare institutions, postgraduate medical training programs, and health plans. So you don't have to be someone in the midst of their career to be protected. The statutes that we enforce also protect trainees. Additionally, some conscience statutes address specific procedures, such as abortion, sterilization, or assisted suicide. Because our jurisdiction depends on the specifics of each conscience protection statute, individuals and organizations should file a complaint with us, and then we can determine if we have the authority to handle the matter. Monty, as you can tell, details about what specific conscience protections exist and for what type of provider and organizations can be complex. I look forward to working with your office in the near future to get the word out about the scope of protections that OCR enforces.
Absolutely. We've just scratched the surface today. We have so much we can accomplish together to improve the health and well-being of all Americans.
The Faith Center and the Office for Civil Rights are two sides of the same coin, one promoting faith communities, the other protecting their legal rights. Conscience rights are civil rights.
And the HHS Faith Center ensures that faith communities have the resources to meet people where they are and help love people back to life.
America's founders recognized the important role of religion and faith-filled individuals in the life of the nation. And so, on this National Day of Prayer, we invite all of you to reflect with your colleagues, friends, families, and neighbors.
As we reflect on the upcoming 250th anniversary of the nation's founding with prayer and thanksgiving, our work at HHS has never been more important.
And to learn more about the important work that HHS does, please visit hhs.gov.
And for the HHS Center for Faith, please visit hhs.gov/faith. We hope you have a pleasant day of prayer and meditation in your own way. Thank you.
Produced by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.